And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
We should open this up like a nature show.
Do you want it? There's
chirping. I don't even know what this would sound like. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Nature Channel. As you can see, we have a beautiful backdrop of a white bucket with much dirt on it. A little bit of garbage in the foliage, and a broken chair. If that is collecting rainwater, we're all going to be in so much trouble.
That's actually filled with fish guts, and it's perfect for fertilizer for plants.
Oh, hello, everybody. This is episode 91 of The Weekly Show. We've decided that we might want to try a nature channel.
I can just talk like this in a fake British accent.
You should see how that area there, that Ryan was filming. You should see what it looked like before climate change. It was just great.
It's hot as hell out, actually, right now. It's gonna snow in a couple days here.
It's a little warm upstairs in the studio as well. For all of those watching, this is not the typical intro to our show, but it's fine. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube, especially Rumble, which is the free speech alternative to YouTube, as well as like us on Facebook and YouTube, and more importantly, Rumble the video when you're watching on Rumble. Brian is fixing his hair so he can look good for the viewers.
On Rumble.
This is
won't let me out in the algorithm.
This is a real small podcast. We don't have the hair and makeup people like some of the bigger people. Looking at you, Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, or a studio, apparently. I just like to film outside like I'm ghetto.
I don't know if Shapiro still does this, but when he first used to start his videos, it would be they would start filming the show before the show was actually ready, on purpose. So Ben would get powdered up and stuff on camera.
Oh, that's cool.
I kind of like it. Yeah, I kind of like it because there was a little background into what it's like before they start filming. But if anyone's wondering, we look this good without the powder.
At least I do. I don't know what Dave looks like. He's got artificial lighting all the time.
That's true. I think that's a pretty accurate representation of us. I'm a little more artificial, and you're a little more natural.
I guess, dude. I'm literally outside.
I'm all for Neuralink and cyborging myself, and you're very against all of it.
I use paper.
He uses paper. I use everything on electronics and computers. I think it's actually funny how different we are, but similar we are in the same way.
It's a beautiful friendship, my friend.
I don't know what we should start with, quite frankly. There was a couple things that hit over the last week that
I'm anxious to see what you have, because it's been for me it was an odd week, at least what I was exposed to. I have a few things that came across my personal timeline that I want to discuss, obviously, but it was just interesting. I was kind of doing my show prep, when I just scroll through screenshots, and not that it felt flat, but it's I remember saying not too long ago that the Biden presidency is going to be kind of dull. Kind of feel that. It's they have to find scapegoats, I
do miss a little bit of Trump in office, but it's okay because there's still all of social media to make news for us. I never followed, so just for background, I never followed the libs of TikTok Twitter, but I never even heard of it until the Washington Post decided to dox the people at libs of TikTok, which, if I'm not mistaken, I did check Twitter. The Washington Post is still allowed on Twitter, which is interesting because doxing people is directly violating their policies.
Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post, though, correct?
Well, yeah. Yeah, just like Bill Gates. Just like Bill Gates owns MSNBC. Your news is coming from the White House or corporations, just so everybody knows. Except this news. You don't come from the White House or corporations.
Elon can't buy Twitter because it's free speech, but all these people can own it, and they're already billionaires.
we'll get to Elon in a little bit.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean
it's okay because I love talking about Elon. So the thing is,
Savior Tony Stark.
If we look at all these people, and we touched on this many times, but I think specifically last week as well, all the people who've been banned from Twitter, it's fascinating to me that somebody that directly violates their policies is free to go. And it's not fascinating because we know why, but isn't it? What is Twitter's excuse to this? I mean, how can Twitter possibly say, well, we're just upholding our policies, right? That every time a right-wing person is off Twitter, they're just it was violating policies. It's clear cut. And they're gone. But when somebody directly violates policies as open as this, there's no repercussions at all.
Yeah, this is obviously this is like a criminal committing a crime and then turning himself in. Because the very platform that people would hear about this very problem is the very company that would have to hold itself liable. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
and that's why that's why all of us here need to hold them liable. All of us, as in, people on the right, whatever that means for you. But it's just amazing to me that they get. We've been seeing a pattern of people just being more blatant on the left, and it doesn't seem to matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and not only has it been more there's somebody that came out today or yesterday and said that the true authoritarians and fascists are left-wing people. I think it might have been Bill Maher even. I sent a screenshot. I can dig it out in a second. But they're showing their teeth. These people aren't going to we talk about it all the time. They're not going to willingly backtrack power. Hitler couldn't negotiate out of his way. He had to apparently commit suicide allegedly in a bunker and have his bodies burned. But we caught the guys that burned his body. It's weird. Anyways, not to get off in a Jew tangent, but the same idea still kind of applies. These people aren't just going to backtrack on all the stuff they've been wrong about.
No, absolutely not, and they're just going to double down.
Yeah, and even when we hold them accountable, they said it's misinformation to begin with. Before we said it, if we speculated them doing it, it would be misinformation, so it would be demonetized. If we catch them in the acts while we're doing it, it's not verified information, so it's disinformation. And it's demonetized. And even after, it's hard to catch up in the big fish media. It's just kind of like when they talked about the whole internet bandwidth thing a few years ago. We're trying to catch up to the big stream and prove that your point was right and it's been demonetized. You've been separated by this little gate that they flip in the algorithm and you're moved to the other side. The thing that didn't exist, but it does. Right? But it's really a problem. And once again, these people aren't going to hold themselves accountable, but
No. And something that would help is, I don't know, some rich billionaire buying Twitter.
Exactly. And that's it's literally the perfect. What else is there? I mean, literally, what else is there to do it than other guy that says, once again, people are saying he's got all this money and stuff and that he should give it away or abolish world hunger and all this stuff. And whether or not that be true or not, this guy obviously said in an interview that this is free speech to me.
Yeah.
There's a reason I'm taking precedent and spending basically a third of my wealth or whatever it is, a fifth of his wealth, a tenth of his wealth on this, to acquire this entity of Twitter, which it has obviously become the public square, as he puts it. And many other people obviously agree with that. That's why TikTok's so popular. But
yeah. Well, it's fascinating that anytime someone who's deemed even right-leaning, anytime they spend their own money to do something, they could have fed, people. They could have sheltered homeless people. They could have whatever. But anytime, I don't know, there's people on the left who have tons of money and they're doing all types of stuff for left-wing causes, and that's just blown by the wayside. That doesn't matter.
Well, it's just, you're so right, Dave, because it's crazy to think that Elon Musk probably doesn't care about gay marriage, for example. If we talk about the woman's right to choose, I'm sure if you were to press him on that issue, he'd have some non-right-leaning opinion on it. I'm just guessing.
He's not even a right-leaning guy.
Exactly.
He just believes in free speech, quite frankly.
A few years ago, it seems like it, when the Canadian truckers had their bank accounts banned, right? And they were like, oh, this is justified. They're terrorists. And then you said that the word freedom was associated with the convoy. That's a right-wing idea. Yeah. It's weird that if you don't pick their side, you're the other side by default, which is my not to get into it, but Tim Pool, my main beef with him, you got to die somewhere on the sword, man, because they are just going to bulldoze you, which is why I think he's been swatted so many times. I mean, the reason Shapiro hasn't been swatted is because I think I think it would be like way more obvious.
Yeah.
Of like some inside job, and then get this little dude in the middle of nowhere. I'm on a tangent again, but yeah, Elon really buying Twitter. I mean, we've seen the thing this week. He made another bet or something, correct? Or offer, rather.
Yeah, so he actually secured the proper funding, $46.5 billion commitment to acquire Twitter. Which is, I mean, you talked about it last week. I mean, it's $43 billion to buy free speech. At least
Sounds
on one
cheap.
platform.
Sounds cheap, man.
But I'm curious, is this the answer? Because what happens if let's fast forward, Elon Musk does buy Twitter? You think like the old big elitists are just going to be like, well, I guess Twitter's gone? I don't see it happening that way. There would be something that happened even if he did buy Twitter. Something would happen. Like Twitter would, I don't know, I don't know if it wouldn't be used as much or whatever the case may be, but like, would people flee Twitter? Would it be a case of, servers shutting down? I mean, I just don't see, like, if Elon buys Twitter, that the elites are going to be like, well, I guess, it is what it is. Because they don't want to lose their power. It's not going to go easy.
They're not going to fold it up like a tailgate or a camping party and just call it quits. Because people invested like hundreds of years of control sometimes in certain scenarios. Yeah, you're right. But it does bring up the question. They obviously can't not allow him to kind of buy it, right? But I mean, this is what's so crazy about the World Economic Forum. Not to jump into conspiracy land, but I'm going to fucking do it because we're in Candyland already in America. So it's so brilliant about like the World Economic Forum say you own nothing, you can't own anything, you have no freedom, and you're happiest you've ever been. So it's kind of like when you juxtapose their 10-year goal apparently to what Elon thinks his 10-year goal is, which is give everybody Neuralink and they'll be millionaires. It's literally a direct opposite of that.
Of course it is.
So I don't personally believe Elon Musk is the guy to give me the secret formula to wealth and to grow and unlimited. I don't. That's another topic for another day. But yeah, what do you do? Because you can't not let him do it. I mean, can you really I don't want to get into another topic. I'll talk about a little later. This is like what we're seeing in another. Let's juxtapose it with the court of public opinion with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm. We can get into that now if you want. Honestly,
yeah.
I'm fine with that.
We're actually seeing that like the court of public opinion has won. I mean, I'm seeing free Johnny, the fucking fists, everything. And I'm going to say this on record. I was going to post this on Facebook, but I always like to record here first because we are the cutting edge media. Dave here and I in particular, we lead the future. I don't mean that lightly, but this is the men's Me Too movement. Don't mistake it just because it's hashtag free Johnny. This is hashtag free Billy, hashtag free Jaconia, hashtag every guy in jail for false rape accusations or beating up his wife or his wife hitting him first and he hits her back or threatening to kill him and he defends himself. What all the crazy extreme circumstances, the little ones.
Yeah, the common stuff like that, or when you when they shit in your bed, and then all the normal stuff that happens between domestic. Is that never happened to you?
It's just well, honestly, I've had a cup of water poured over my head in bed. So, but this is what I mean. Like, I am not gonna do it on the internet because these people are, women in my life. I would not never do that per se. I could describe my experiences, but I mean,
if you want, doxing's okay now. Washington posted it on Twitter, so we can start doxing.
All I'm saying is I haven't lived I haven't stepped in Johnny Depp's life, but I have experienced certain things as a man that if I was a woman, I could go to the police and the media and all these things would rally around. And it's nothing crazy, not physical harm or death or anything, but there's been, once again, I'm not going to do it on the internet, obviously, because it's long in the past and stuff. But this is what I mean. This is allowing men to go to women that have hurt them physically, emotionally, spiritually, and be like, yo, like, you hurt me. Like, you hurt me, and I forgive you. Like, it doesn't matter. Because as men, we were just told to burden it. Johnny Depp was just told to suck it. She told him that. Quit being a bitch, basically, right? Just man up, right? But that's to say, that's what we tell men. That's what we tell our kids. Your kid can get wrecked. Oh, you got to be tough, kid. You tell your little girl, you go over there, she'll be crying all crazy. I know, I'm a girl dad. Like, dude, it's not the same. We beat the shit out of our boys, and we're told them, shut up, man. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a good or a bad thing, because obviously the baddest motherfuckers ever, our grandparents killed Hitler and built the world I walk on. I'm mighty grateful for them. But those guys, maybe if they could open up a little bit better, we wouldn't have such damaged parents or grandparents. But my point is true. This is allowing men to open up and be like, look, I experienced the same shit. I have a buddy personally that had a knife stabbed from a girl. Stab him. He has marks on his fucking forearms.
Mhm.
He's like, I felt like a bitch going to the cops. He didn't. He didn't tell anybody. He had to handle it himself for 2 years. She's calling him crazy numbers, literally 700 text messages.
Mhm. I don't think people
This is-
understand. Like, I don't. And when I say people, like,
You
I
don't
don't think.
understand because you're not exposed to it, right? We're not exposed to it. And then you can juxtapose masculinity, like the way Johnny Depp has handled his, compare that to Will Smith. Look at what happens when Will Smith, like, it's the same thing. Will Smith has suffered mental abuse from a woman. I talked about this when it happened. And now Johnny Depp's hot in the media because there's nothing else going on. And we got to show some empathy for men. I don't even know if that's being portrayed, but I'm telling you, the court of public opinion, man, has won. Johnny Depp is vindicated and all this. Chris Brown and Trey Songz and all these other people have been accused of a bunch of stuff. How many fucking times have we seen this?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Chris Brown might not be the best example.
No, he was caught sometimes, but he was just vindicated on his latest accusation that he was vindicated in particular.
Yeah.
But it's just like the whole story of, like, I think personally, like, women, they like it's weird to bring up celebrities and then relate to average people, but it's true because these extreme people let you be open about yourself. That's why I think influencers are so influential, is because it makes you more comfortable expressing your feelings because you see other people do it, which is what's dangerous about Will Smith assaulting comedians, like I talked about.
And it's
which
a
is
clear
also,
trend now.
yes, and it's also powerful with Johnny Depp. It's not only a trend, it's going to continue, right? We're only seeing acceleration. Nothing in this world goes backwards. And now we're seeing it, the juxtaposition of Johnny Depp on the other end of, like, a guy that's suffered trauma. We always hear about trust all women and all this stuff. And how long did it take Johnny Depp to get his day in court? There probably wasn't even going to be a day in court.
Oh God, it's been how long? I mean, it's been
But
over.
free Britney. People had conspiracy theories about Britney Spears, man. She wore a yellow shirt like I commented on, and she did it. And it worked. That worked. People paid attention, right? That, like, look at the internet, rallying to save, like, literally somebody's life. I hope we can do it when Will Smith hangs himself. I hope we can do it before that. We don't lose another great actor to depression or, like, some mental abuse that he's obviously going through. Like, men have been beat down. We've all been there. We're just told to man up. And this is like the real Johnny Depp. He is it's so crazy. The drunken pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean is like the guy that's, like, falling on the sword of, like, believing, like, actually listening to men's struggles. Like, even man to man, we need to, like, I've told strangers, and it didn't end out well for me because the guy lost respect for me. But I told him, like, hey, man, I want men to succeed. I want strong men. Like, once again, I have sisters, I have a mother, I have a daughter. Like, I don't want them to date or be with weak men or be around weak men that are cowardly and do dangerous things like assault and all these other things. I want honorable gentlemen to raise a good society, to build things and have our minds take over the world. That only happens with positive, powerful masculinity. It doesn't happen by shadow banning them. It doesn't happen by saying you're toxic. It doesn't happen by not believing them. And that's what we're seeing. So Johnny Depp right now is the crucible for the men. It's basically the men's Me Too movement. I don't know what to call it. The Depp movement, the Depp effect. I don't know. But it's any one of these. Free whoever, free Ryan, free Dave. Like, every guy has been through some kind of abuse from women. And, they get past. And honestly, my advice to those men that have been through it, if you can, try to forgive them. if you can't tell them to your face, at least like if you got to go to church or maybe a conversation yourself in the park, or you just like sit down and think real hard about it. Forgive yourself for like letting that happen to you. It's okay. You're better than it. Like there's guys that out there to help you talk about it. They're going to be hard to find, but you're going to have to put yourself out there and feel the pain for a minute if it's got to come back up, but you'll be better. It's okay. You'll move on. There's better tomorrow. Like guys mostly kill themselves. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like Will Smith should be on suicide watch. Like honestly, not to get back into him, but he said, I will kill myself before I get divorced from Jada. And I don't know what this is from or anything else, but Robin Williams, we lost him how many years ago? That guy was it looked like the happiest, making everybody like come on.
Mm-hmm.
That never cared about men's struggles though. And I know why, I get it, but like that's what's so crazy is we had it so good that girls were able to just aimlessly bitch about their problems for 20 years and everybody took it seriously while we were just killing ourselves and suffering abuse from these very same women that want the victim card flipped on them.
Yeah, and it's who knows what the right answer is, and I'm sure Johnny Depp wasn't totally innocent in all this too, but I mean it was clearly just a bad relationship. I mean, probably the best
sex he ever got. Dude, they probably fought. They probably had handles and suction cups all over that house, just fucking on the walls like Nightcrawler, dude. Probably talk like Jack Sparrow swinging from chandeliers and stuff. His dick was called the Black Pearl.
something had to keep them together.
That dude bought houses and all sorts of other stuff for that broad, man.
Of course. And he didn't have to. She's rich as hell, too.
Well, David, you and I both know women don't like to spend their own money until they have to.
Well, she's going to have to, because I have a feeling she's not going to win.
I get a text from Dave that says, to be honest, I would have put up with it too. Amber's a 12.
Just saying.
Dude, something kept them together. Yeah, it's the thing between her legs. Let's not.
Speaking of women abusing
he
men,
left his old wife for that shit. I would too.
Speaking
Internet,
of women who abuse men, this is about men who abuse women.
My favorite stories.
Rudy Giuliani caused a he caused someone to storm off stage during The Masked Singer, which is a show I've never watched and one I don't care to watch. But this is pretty ridiculous. I mean, to the point where they have this big theatrical walk off, and it's of course on camera because you're not going to just let them walk off without put them on camera because it was probably planned. This is embarrassing.
There's no way, Rude.
Just the idea that people can't have differing opinions is just it's just unacceptable, honestly.
It just really makes you wonder. Rudy Giuliani cannot sing. There's no way.
Oh God, no! I would have honestly, if he would have walked,
just out there dancing.
Yeah, if he would have walked off stage after he heard him sing, I would have understood because I wouldn't want to hear that either.
There's no way that guy was singing. It's all pre-recorded bullshit. They're basically masked singer, yeah. Like their mouth's moving under a costume that looks like the fucking Banana Bunch from 1980.
What he was? He looked like a parrot with like a weird. I don't know. He kind of had your hair, but he was a parrot. But the hair was green and red, and there was a weird triangle on his head. I don't know what the hell was going on. Whoa, camera! Hey, bring it back.
No one can have my hair, dude.
Blurry cam. Yeah, I don't know. This is the difference between people on the right and the left. People on the right would not do this. They wouldn't publicly walk off stage because they didn't agree with somebody's opinions.
Yeah, it really should make anybody ask, to separate it from the political spectrum. But like, what group of people would you rather be a part of? The ones that encourage difference of opinion, or the ones that embrace it, or the ones that reject it, and the ones that want to shelter it, and the ones that want to make it radical, and the ones that want to shove it underground? Because honestly, this is how these bold ideas like the KKK, for example, can get restarted up because you suppress. like the thing with the KKK is all these people were open about their racism, and then it got to a point people were like, "Yo, dude, it's kind of like this ain't the thing anymore, man." You know, like this ain't, you know, for millions of reasons is not the podcast to listen to about the ending of slavery, believe me. But considering my blonde hair, but yeah, my point is, like, how long have we heard about the 4chan, the 8chan stuff, right? This dark corner of the web, like they suppress these ideas and they come back to the light. This has always been like this. This is how science started, right? Who was it that had to say that the Earth was the center of everything revolved around the Earth instead of the sun? But he knew he was right. Galileo. Like, I mean, how many times have we got to see it through history? So this isn't something that's out of the ordinary.
No. Speaking of things that aren't out of the ordinary, I think everybody, at least here at December 1773, saw this coming, but apparently, I don't know who would have guessed this, CNN Plus is not doing well.
There was a CNN Plus and a CNN Minus.
Well, CNN Minus is the normal channel. Warner Brothers and Discovery have suspended marketing efforts and fired the CFO, and they've announced that they're not even doing it anymore. So, you know, I mean, listen, it's only been a month. Things can turn around.
But they're going to have regular cable news.
Well, duh. Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't even think about people paying for that. It's just amazing that when people have to go out of their way to pay to watch CNN, they won't do it.
But Ben Shapiro can have how many subscriptions? 500,000.
What was it? 600,000 or something? Brian Stelter, by the way, and I'm gonna play this.
Doesn't sound like Ben Shapiro's going to be shutting down anytime soon.
Stelter is just absolutely astonished that this is happening.
You seen anything like this?
Hold on a second.
Whoa.
Yeah, just the headline: CNN Plus to shut down after 1 month. And the headline before that was, he said it's too soon to tell if it's working or not. Shows that they don't have any fucking idea how businesses ran.
It's too well. And here's the thing: just listen to what he has to say about this, because he is so out of touch with reality. It's ridiculous.
It's insanity.
It's
fucking ridiculous.
No. I mean, no. And first of all, I think I'm making history right now. I've never been on a program talking about the demise of that program.
Well, we probably have more viewers now than ever before because there's so much curiosity. And you know, let me try out a theory on you. Let me try out a theory on you, Matt, which is it's too early to know if this product, if this service was a success or a failure. You got all the haters today saying this thing was a failure. I don't know if we can even ever assess that because it just simply didn't have enough time because of the management's change in direction. And at the end of the day, if you buy something, if you buy a giant media company, you get to do whatever you want with it. But it does mean there's a lot of suffering for employees and, frankly, disappointment among subscribers as a result.
Disappointment among the subscribers? Who? All 6 of them?
I really hope CNN doesn't open CNN comedy division, because that was a pathetic joke that this dude had, literally about the abysmal subscription rate of these failures of journalism. Weren't these assholes asked just a week ago at the disinformation campaign about how CNN in particular pushed false narratives and all these other things?
Yeah, this is a false narrative.
Literally a week ago, we seen the thing and we're talking, and then the guy didn't even answer the question. He brushed it off, and now here we are, where they have to literally look. You know, YouTube gives plaques for subscriptions, but they're saying, it's too soon to tell. But they monetize people's Instagrams with Starbucks pictures.
It's only been 1 month, Ryan. It's way too soon to tell.
It's only been a month, and we lost all of our money. When literally, here's the problem. Everybody thinks it's easy to run a podcast. Now, granted, Dave and I are in some of these scales, but the point of it remains is not everybody's interesting. Not everybody cares what you have to say. Not everybody's going to find a fan base or an audio group of listeners. And it's obvious people do not like what CNN is selling. No, and that's this is actual real proof. We knew it the whole time, but this is actual physical evidence that people don't want to watch CNN, because if you make them pay for it, they're not going to do it. Yeah, it's a really good point, Dave. And to even extrude it further, it's like this is like showing by default that CNN is now like how the standard journalism is not only low, but what it is. Like CNN is not only trusted by nobody, but like anything that they say, we obviously know it's basically like read what they're saying and do the opposite, you know?
Yeah. And you got to think too, the thing that's super fascinating about all this and how monumental their failure is, they have so much resource to put into making great programming, and they can't do it. They have millions and millions and millions of dollars put into these programs. Why are they not good?
Go woke, go broke, right?
It's unbelievable. I mean, Ryan, I gotta be honest, and maybe I'm being egotistical here, but if we had millions of dollars to put into our program, it would be a fucking brilliant piece of programming.
We just need advertising. Imagine $1 million in advertising campaign for December 7th.
Well, yeah, imagine that. Imagine the kind of visuals you can do and the equipment you can use and the resources like employees and staff to edit your videos and to film your videos and to do all your research and to do your show prep for you. And like, I mean, it's I don't think people understand how much money goes into some of these people who do really, really, high quality, shows and things like this. There's a lot of resources behind them. Like Ben Shapiro is not the only guy at the Ben Shapiro show. You know what I mean? Steven Crowder has dozens and dozens of employees. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to put out high quality content. I was watching, I finally got around.
High quality, literally the new media. Like it's not a fucking joke anymore. When we see the death of CNN Plus, but Ben Shapiro has over 500,000 subscribers that pay willingly for his content, not to mention his books, his other podcasts, the streaming, the largest growing conservative fucking blah, 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 and everything else that dude does that's awesome. Like, we've obviously seen Joe Rogan, prime example, the amount of traffic he directs to Spotify and the Joe Rogan effect with other people's, like, this is the new media. Mm-hmm. And these people obviously don't care. They don't know. They don't understand, or they're trying to push a narrative and it isn't selling anymore. No. Which I'm going with the last one.
And those people still, like Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro and even Steven Crowder and all of them, even, I would imagine, even The Blaze as a whole, like, they still don't have the same kind of dollars that CNN has.
No way. I mean, think of Warner Brothers itself, if they own CNN, that's Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Batman, all of DC Comics. Like, just off the top of my head, there's millions of other movies made by them, but just those franchises alone are trillions of dollars of industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it's fascinating too. I finally got around to listening to. I've been wanting to for a while, but I listened to Mr. Beast on Joe Rogan, and Mr. Beast is a super. No one watches his shows or his, page and whatever, and it's kind of the stuff he does is kind of interesting and different and whatever. But like listening to the amount of resource that he puts into his videos is absolutely insane. For example, I think he said he has 1,000 employees between studios and different pages and editors and like 1,000. Yeah,
employees. He said he has like translators so he can have the same video in Spanish and Dutch and Chinese and all of his videos get translated. So he has to employ those people and then those marketing people to market in those.
And he was talking about the Squid Games like video he made, and he spent like $4 million just making that one video. Like, I mean, that is but he's getting results, right? He's got 90 million, almost 100 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, he's getting results out of it. But that's what you should expect when you are dedicated and interesting and you put all this money into your product. You're expecting to get this kind of result. CNN put all of this energy and effort and dollars into their product, and they're shutting down. So it's pretty obvious.
You wonder what else can go.
Oh yeah, I mean,
what else can go? What else would go if they were? And this is also going to discourage. This is such a metric for fucking new media. It's unbelievable. Like, think about it. This is all media outlets are looking at this as like, are we viable in the new media?
No.
So these people aren't just going to backtrack. Like, these propaganda arms that the fucking military-industrial complex, for lack of a better term, have engineered, these very paid television programming agenda pushing 5 big corporations own all media, print, news, and television. People aren't going quietly into the night like we talked about earlier with Twitter here. So there's for every effect, there's an opposite effect. I just really wonder if we'd see this with Fox, if Fox would flunk out, if the Guardian, if the fucking any one of them, the Telegraph, any one of these. Wall Street Journal's barely alive. It's like $2 a month to subscribe. Like Buffalo News can barely keep a profit. That's a fucking union ran organization locally here. It's probably profited. The business is probably paid for by taxpayers. I don't know that, but it's not like there's open, thriving media. Newspaper print is dead in general because of digital media. It's just like everybody's looking at this as like we're all going to have an opinion, obviously, as us in the new media and what we're talking about. But like all these old media heads, all these rich executives, all these other corporations are using this as a metric, and we will see many more of this. We will see collapse of media, conglomerates getting formed. Elon buying Twitter. He said barbarians are at the gate. I don't think that was necessarily because he was being attacked. I think they all are eating themselves.
Well, and what I think...
This is basically the have and have-nots. And Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk have, and CNN Plus has not.
What I expect you're going to see more of, though, is because they've now proven that they're not viable on their own. What it's going to lead to, because they're not going to make themselves more viable, they can't. They're not interesting, and the general public doesn't want to pay for their content. There's going to be more suppression of the content that people will watch. That's the only way to drive them to you. You have to shut down. You have to shut down the opposition. You can't succeed with competition.
Especially when you work with the White House. It's weird that Alex Jones that shut down. The guy had a show for years called InfoWars because there's a war on for your mind.
Just another thing he was right about.
I mean, this was one of the basic tenets that everything you see is controlled and 5 media organizations run the whole fucking world. And I don't curse until after Trump was president, but I do now. But dude, like, he never did, for the record. I listened to Alex Jones when he was praising God every day, praying. And then I seen him flip, It's crazy. Maybe they replaced him with fucking Bill Hicks. But for real, this was like one of the old tenets of like you control information, academia, control the food and water supply, control the military.
All the things we've talked about. Well, we've definitely talked about controlling media, and Kevin came on here and talked about controlling food supplies. So,
to go even further, if CNN's job, look, I don't remember, was it MSNBC, the clip the other day you played, that it was their job to control the narrative and tell people what to think?
That was MSNBC.
If CNN has not had their subscriptions paid to get controlled narrative, and it's their job, well, why are you still employed?
That's a good question.
We should have the highest rates of unemployed journalists ever. Probably going to bring in those robot writers they've been talking about. No one to blame when it was just a software glitch because, the computer just writes its own thing. It's not misinformation if the computer just doesn't remember what it was writing. It's so easy to Winston when you can, have a computer write a news article instead of a person with a pulse.
I'll be honest, Ryan, that is the end of what I had for us.
Dude, imagine a computer only being able to write the stuff that was approved information.
Well, it is.
I know, but imagine. Everything. But everything, I bet you it's at least 20%, maybe 30% right now. Maybe 50. But if we're talking 100% of print is written by a fucking robot. Speaking of Alex Jones, I'll just end up with him. I seen a thing that he was apparently filing for bankruptcy. I don't know if I talked about this.
I did see that. I don't think I've heard you talk about it, but...
Yeah, Alex Jones is apparently filed for bankruptcy. So it's because of the Sandy Hook defamation suit. Mm-hmm. He said that it wasn't happening. It was a fucking hoax and all these other things. They're going to get you with something. They can indict a ham sandwich. Look at President Trump, for example. So I'm not here to attack or defend Alex, but it is something worth mentioning that, it's kind of like the Mount Rushmore new media in a weird way. Yeah, Alex, even though he was fringe and all these other things they like to label him. He did pioneer a lot of stuff. He has been vindicated on quite a few things. I'm sure somebody out there's got a compilation of the times Alex Jones was right. So we could probably, somebody can find that. But yeah, it's it's pretty crazy to just see it all go around in circles, and especially for a guy like Dave, myself, and I. Like, we kind of feel like we do our duty here, obviously, and spread the information we know, break down the stuff we know, and then spread to you guys, the followers that we're always grateful for. But even ourselves, we kind of operate in that Alex mind state, of tearing apart these articles and disproving these people in real time. That's all the stuff I got from him, So kind of like a pioneer once again.
I was trying to see if there was any compilations of Alex Jones being right.
Yeah, I'm sure those aren't going to be allowed on YouTube. Apparently, there has been 16 processing plant fires and explosions on American food processing plants. Have you heard about this?
I have not. They're just exploding, huh?
So I've heard from 4 different people now about this. So I don't know if this is just an internet thing, so conspiracy fact. But I remember a very particular time when one big-ass boat was just big enough to go in the Suez Canal and fuck everything up. And then I also remember computer chips were only made in 2 factories, and one of them caught fire magically. And I also remember hearing about some of these vaccine places catching fire mysteriously or providing coronavirus aid. So I tried looking it up, and I did not get any mainstream news articles about it, which makes me think it's real, to be honest with you. Because why would the mainstream news article talk about, I don't know, one of the plants apparently is 8% of our food supply of beef, which is a fuck ton of beef. It's a fuck ton of beef. Food's already expensive. So,
well, luckily, a lot of Americans own farmland and they can grow their own food. It hasn't been bought out by any rich billionaires or big evil corporations.
Do you remember when non-essential workers were the people that sold seeds and gardening tools? They didn't want you eating your own vegetables. Can't get a water filtration because it's not essential, but I can buy fast food. Things aren't essential, but I can buy fast food. These people showed their hand, bro. It's, obviously gloves are off. But yeah, it's just something to think about. I'm just talking. I don't want to get crazy into it because honestly, like I said, when I looked it up,
said there were 16 plants.
16 plants. Yeah, I looked it up and it was
they just exploded.
Yeah, I have some COVID news this week as well. COVID vaccines are not. Yeah, this is a USA Today article. It was published on the 17th of April. Andrea Rodriguez. Hey, honey. What's up, shorty? COVID vaccines are not meant to prevent all infections, experts say. Experts need to reset their expectations.
All infections? Like all COVID infections?
COVID vaccines were highly effective against infections, but the virus has changed.
Oh,
Americans expectations need to change too. Now, how fucking convenient.
That's weird. I've never seen a virus change before. This is new science, isn't it, Ryan?
I guess so. Danny Mitchell couldn't believe he tested positive for coronavirus in January. I was surprised because I was taking so many precautions.
Oh, no.
Probably wearing a mask.
Danny Mitchell.
Of course, I can't read the rest of this article without having a subscription. But I'm glad I have to change my expectations when I can't even, read the fucking information.
Well, if you had millions of dollars for resource like CNN, we could buy the subscription and read the rest of that article.
These people are fucking criminals and need to be, put to the test. Speaking of Elon Musk earlier, I got something else for your ass. Tesla workers in Shanghai, which is in China for those who don't know, will reportedly eat and sleep on the factory floor as it earns closed-loop system to avoid further shutdowns.
So it's like every other factory in China?
It's weird you said that. The reason I bring it up, Tesla workers automated factory, blah, blah, 3-week shutdown. Bloomberg reported after it restarts its production after 3 weeks of shutdown, right? The publication cited, quote, people familiar with the matter who said the location would be operating as a closed-loop system. Look, I'm not here to shit on anybody, but their wording is back. So that tells me everything I need to know. Biden reverses Trump's policies on environmental protections. President strengthens landmark law governing construction of pipelines, highways, and other projects. This is the unions. It's literally the unions backdooring their way into policy and influencing what happens at the local level. The Buffalo Bills the Buffalo Bills Stadium is a prime example of this.
I almost think it's the unions front dooring their ways in.
I can't wait to shit talk this thing as it's getting built because more and more is going to come out. I seen a thing today that it's a bad deal and all sorts of other shit.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course it is. Lawmakers agree to on it expeditiously. There was no like debate. It was like, yeah, we need a new stadium. They're like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. That makes me think it's a con job. Nothing gets done expediently unless it's a con job. We have to pull this shit through before people wake up. And we got to silence all the misinformation before it's possible because, terrorists and all. Remember when we had nothing to hide and now the shit I say literally hides me? I had nothing to hide under the Patriot Act. And
That's
now
correct.
The very things that I say, they now hide me on the internet. Just the things I say, the things I search.
Yeah, but you were a domestic terrorist with all your right-wing verbiage like freedom and
Epstein
fitness.
Island, is that going to be right-wing fucking... These people, I'm telling you, these people, I cannot wait for the day, man. These people, they're going to get their day in court, and I know it's coming. All right, so I saw this. Speaking of climate change earlier, I don't know if we made the joke, but a mega fire spewed pollution worth millions of cars over a year. No one is on the hook for the emissions. So this is in British Columbia.
Who would be on the hook for the emissions?
I don't know. It's kind of weird to think that we can just tax our way to prevent forest fires. This is what happens when you make Smokey the Bear this cuddly, cute thing, like a fucking mascot for shit people don't know. What probably really happened was those people said, oh, no, this is protected land. We can't do anything with it. So they didn't go through and trim all the dead. It's called debrushing or like going through
deforestation,
brush fire. Yeah. And then they go through and they kill all these old trees and then they sell that for lumber or they burn it or whatever. Look at this fucking squirrel up here, bro. Squirrel. But yeah, a lot of the time in these protected places, that don't happen. And then it just makes fires like inevitable because it's dry and fucking hot. And I'm not a forest expert, but they talk about this, man.
Well, Trump talked about this and everyone said he was being ridiculous. And then I don't know, 6 months later, they wrote an article about how they could have prevented the forest fires by just taking all the old dead brush out of there.
Dude, speaking of
natives, exactly what Trump said.
The Native Americans knew this.
It's common sense.
Where we got it from.
How long have we known how to make fire for?
Forever, apparently.
We're going to pretend like we don't know how this works?
This is just one of those things. They're stealing the ancient, archaic knowledge from us at the state level because they don't want you to fend for yourself. That's why they're burning anything other than electrical things in New York. No forest. You can't have campfires. Can't have any of this. They're going to get rid of all this because they don't want you to harness the elements and be able to sustain for yourself. You own nothing. You have no freedom, and you're the happiest you've ever been. Welcome to 2035.
For anyone watching, we didn't make this up. This is World Economic Forum.
Yeah, it's literally it's funded with all of the global people's tax dollars because we're global citizens.
Just Google World Economic Forum and you'll find all types of stuff. Well, maybe don't Google it. Search it other ways.
For those who didn't believe me about the Bills Stadium, I'm going to refer to the economics professor, Victor Matheson, says, quote, one of the worst deals ever when talking about, this is a Channel 4 article, when the New York State, Erie County, and the Buffalo Bills agreed to build a brand new football stadium in Orchard Park, they struck one of the worst deals ever for taxpayers. I wonder how many Nobel Peace Prizing people they asked.
Well, I mean, given the fact taxpayers are paying for pretty much all of it, yeah, it's not a great deal.
Yeah, dude, I don't want to get on Johnny Depp again, but dude, there's a compilation of videos of her lawyer just grilling him, and all the questions are super repetitive, and he's like, "This is your signature, right?" And he's like, "Yes, I've already said that." It's just you can obviously show that.
Well, hold on, you gotta say it like Johnny Depp though.
Yes, I've already said it twice.
I don't know why. I don't know where his voice comes from. Has he just been acting so long he forgot what he actually sounds like?
Yeah, I just think he kind of
isn't he from
life.
Missouri or something? He's from
I don't know.
A place that shouldn't sound like that.
He's probably a city boy in a country land, I just kind of act like a British Columbian native.
Where is he from?
Let's hang out.
Johnny Depp. Birthplace. I'm trying to remember where he's from. It's from somewhere that doesn't sound like this.
Oh, so
Owensboro, Kentucky. Land of the weird...
The Pauls?
Yeah. He should sound like Ron and Rand Paul. Why does he sound like how he sounds?
Yeah, I'm glad we're getting more transparency on the Johnny Depp trial than we ever did for the Ghislaine Maxwell trial.
Oh, don't worry about that. It's fine. Nothing happened there.
Yo, CNN, back to your thing, Dave, about CNN Plus. Somebody I seen a tweet that said CNN lost $300 million trying to build CNN Plus. With that amount of money, they could have given every American $1 million.
That's inaccurate math, but funny.
Or $1. Well,
no,
speaking of not
what was
doing
the well, hold on, let's use their logic. Couldn't they have ended world hunger or whatever the hell? How long is that? How much does that cost?
These people don't give one fuck about it.
I'm sorry, isn't that what everyone said about Elon buying Twitter? He could end world hunger. Okay, how about this failed CNN Plus with all the money they put into it?
We were making jobs. People got money. What? I wonder if they made that with a PPE loan and they just had to bury money from the fucking government.
That's what I'm talking about. They don't hold themselves to their same standards.
Oh man, these people should have the bricks beat out of them politically in public on video cameras.
And figuratively, mostly figuratively.
Speaking about people that get beat up with video cameras, President Biden apparently, or whoever operates his Twitter, posted something. I think I sent this to you, but I put it in the chat because it's always funny because we talk all these giant numbers with debts and deficits that we can't even fathom because we can barely fathom thousands or millions of dollars in our retirement account. But President Biden, POTUS. Last year, we cut the deficit by more than $350 billion. And this year, we're on track to cut the deficit by more than $1.3 trillion, the largest one-year reduction in the deficit in United States history. Now, I'm going to go on record here and say the same shit I said about Donald Trump saying this, is if you cut the deficit, but you don't stop spending fucking money, it doesn't do anything.
Well,
literally the opposite, because you're saying that we're taking in less taxes, but we need more money in taxes because the government is only growing. And you spent more fucking money than ever before in the history of all of America. Printed 60% of our dollars.
Well, the thing that's interesting is when I looked into these numbers, because he had a similar Facebook post a while ago, and to talk about whoever controls Biden's Twitter and stuff, it's probably the same guy who controls Biden when he talks. But
that guy's plugged into a computer somewhere, dude.
When I looked at the numbers, which is fascinating because I got them off the White House's government's website, the most expensive years of our nation's history were the last two ones. So I don't know where these numbers are coming from, but not the same numbers I saw from, I don't know, the government. Look at this. And as we see in the wild, we have a rare...
Crikey. He just appears out of nowhere. I'm going to go stick my finger up his bum.
Hey,
oh, that's
there's a koala lizard. Very dangerous.
Danger.
I
always love mimic. I'm going to go stick my finger up his bum. That's a South Park bit. I always love mimicking that guy. So good.
That stingray took him out.
Yeah, it just shows us we're not meant to be in the fucking water. If Steve Irwin can't survive in the water, no, we're land people.
Was that your dad doing headlines? The stingray took Steve Irwin out?
Yeah, Dad doing headlines is Steve Irwin going.
Headlines! Stingray takes out Steve Irwin. Breaking news.
Speaking about headline, here's one from 2016 that will it's a Forbes article. Spain had no government for 10 months. Economy grows, unemployment falls to 18.5%.
Huh.
That's weird. That's a 2016 article?
Yeah, 2016. Also, let's look at here. Think Progressive, a Twitter. We don't have 12 years to save the climate. We have 14 months, and this was 14 months ago. So I'm glad that these people are sticking to the timeline.
It was already supposed to be over, right? When did Al Gore? When did Al Gore predict the end of the world?
I don't know. I should have seen like
2003.
Dude, we think the Aztecs predicted the end of the Earth like 4,000 years before it happened, and we're like, oh no, fucking asteroids coming.
I think it was the Mayans. Was it the Mayans? It was the Mayans.
Yeah, the Aztecs were taken out by the Taco people.
What if the guy writing the calendar for the Mayans just died and they're like, oh, this is when their calendar ends. It ends on this date. It's like, well, the guy probably just died.
Yo, you ready for this one that I heard recently? They used a 13-month calendar based on the moon. So really, the calendar's over in 2022.
Oh no, it's the end of the world again.
Fucking again.
Fucking
2
13-month
bubonic
calendars.
plagues. COVID wave 74. Like I'm in zombies. We're playing Call of Duty Zombies right now. COVID. It's weird they got a lot of the same letters. Piers Morgan. Cancel culture so-called liberals are the new fascists. Now that comes from the old school liberal. Like literally the old-fashioned liberals, at least what they try to stand by.
Yeah, he's another Bill Maher guy, a Jon Stewart guy.
Yeah, so let's use these people as metric. Maybe if they employed more of those on CNN Plus, they might actually have a fucking program to monetize.
Well, Bill Maher said on Rogan's podcast, and this is the same thing we've said before, which is, you know, some of these classic liberal people, they're not getting conservative. The left is just getting, as Bill Maher put it, getting more goofy, but the left is just getting more and more authoritarian, more and more fascist, more and more whatever word you want to use, but they're getting more left. That's why some of these centrists seem like they're Republican now. They're not Republican. They're still liberal. They're basically they believe in climate change and stuff, but they also believe in free speech, right?
They want you to have guns to fight off, you know, volcanoes trying to eat your house because you're not driving an electric car.
Yeah,
with your husband as a man.
Dave
Your transsexual baby. Yo, what they surrogate or something? Anyways, I don't care about the homos right now. Coming up on a December entertainment that hopefully I'd like to talk about soon. I didn't know this happened, but there's a charity event going on between Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
it's
golf tournament.
It's June 1st on TNT, and it's a 2v2. It's the old goats versus the young goats. So Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers versus Allen and Mahomes. And it's on 6:30 on TNN on June 1st. I will be watching that.
I will not.
I don't like golf.
But it is cool.
I don't like golf, but I do want to see it for some reason. Mostly just shit talk Brady on how good he is at golf even. All right.
Probably will be. He'll get like 18 holes in one like fucking Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, that dude probably just like nukes fucking golf courses and then tells them to rebuild it.
Honestly, Kim Jong-un telling bullshit to his citizens is no different than what the media does here.
Well, except the media that does it here is a lot richer.
Oh, you dirty bastard. I get 18 hole one. And CNN
I know.
CNN, meanwhile, is doing the same thing. Like, oh, Hunter Biden laptop doesn't exist. It's the same thing. Like, we know the truth. You don't have to lie to us.
Yeah, CNN talking about, you know, the Russian collusion scandal that Trump got impeached for, even though it didn't exist, is like the equivalent of Kim Jong-un saying he doesn't pee and poop to his people, and they believe it. So this entertainment this week. It's a little light one, but I think it's highly relatable because for those who have been here since the beginning, especially close friends like David and other people I know personally, you've seen my journey through my life. I used to be in the automotive. I'm now an electrician. I was in a machine shop. Now an electrician. Moral of the story. Go outside today and playing with the kids, just doing crazy kid shit, you know, being an awesome dad like I am. I'm like a 5-year-old in public, so I'm running around playing cops and robbers or something. And a dude pulls in with a Trans Am, dude.
Yeah, did he have a sweet mullet too?
Almost, dude. He had cut-off shirt on. They were drinking beers at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Listening to Leonard Skinner.
The car, windows down, had T-tops. Those were on. Cherry red tints. Had the hood open. Car wasn't started. Like, dude. They're outside sucking beer, talking. I hear him. He goes over, starts the car. He opens the door. Do you remember when doors had no, like there was actually coupes? They had no like A frame or B frame.
Yeah, they didn't have a frame around the window.
Yeah, it's just, dude. I realize how one unsafe those fucking things are, but two how badass the 90s and 80s were. We were just driving around in like boxes made out of fucking metal.
They were also incredibly easy to break into, and there's no reason I know this, but if you just sneak your fingers behind the glass, you could pull it and then sneak your arm down in and open the handle.
Yeah, it's just so, like, to see the evolution of cars, especially you and I. You're still in the industry. I was in the industry, especially collision, seeing the inside of these cars and the way they... It's like crazy over here. But seeing, like, it's coming, dude, it made me miss... I was still the kid. it reminded me of everything why I pursued the career in cars, because it was just like, and then the dude went, started it up. Like I said, closed the door. You could hear like all mechanical, right? Like the mechanical shit inside. It's not plastic. It's all steel. The door's fucking heavy. Like the chrome, just like, dude, it was just like, when I realized that, like that, I remember growing up that everybody had those cars. Everybody had cars from the 90s and 80s. My first car was a 95, right? Like, so it made me feel dated and old, and made me realize how beautiful life is and how far I've come, and seen the technology boom and all these cool things, right, that we always talk about here on the program. But like, God, it made me remember why I fell in love with it. You know, like the thing that I try chasing every day. So I'm happy I have a different purpose, but I'm still able to like have that feeling of that old purpose, to be able to like fill myself and like put myself back in that position. It showed me a lot of growth, honestly.
You're kind of better off now, because it's so much better if you are a car enthusiast to enjoy it from afar than in the field, because it is a rough field.
Dude, I left the 2020. Literally, I left in March of 2020. I left the automotive industry. So it's like I started right before COVID. So I can't imagine after it, but like before it, I was, and whether it was my choices, my faults, or other things, you know, that's another topic. But like, you know, I might have fallen out with it for a fair share of reasons, good or bad, mine or the place. But I tried, man. I fucking tried, you know. But it was just like, the dude started up and then he went around and, you know, he actually hit like the mechanical throttle on the carburetor.
Yeah.
And it brought me back to the garages that I grew up in, working on cars when I'm 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, wrenching, fixing the family car, learning how like mechanical things can be, and like how the old world, the old world dying, the new, like I said, all the things we talk about here, the old world dying into this new technology. And I don't know. It was cool. It's just like reminded me of my youth, my innocence. It showed me how little I really understood about the world back then, because I just thought I could run with this thing, right? Like I didn't find a purpose found me. And it was a purpose through like a passion, right? Like a thing that I loved, a thing that like I used out of practicality and stuff. And I'm forever grateful for it, because it beats the alternative, having no purpose, no drive. I got very lucky. A lot of people don't get it. I count my blessings with that. But like the idea of it is now like, I don't know, it just showed my maturity, because I operate differently. But it was still beautiful. To all day I've been checking all the nice cars. I've seen Ferraris and Porsches and Beamers and all these other beautiful cars. I eat up the car culture, man. It was awesome to see it, especially in my neighborhood. My neighbor, I made friends with him and everything else. But it was just cool. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it there. I want to say I hope everybody had a happy Easter. We didn't recognize that last pod, so I had a good Easter. I hope, Dave, you and your family had a good Easter. But yeah, check us out. I hope to see everybody at the premiere Mondays at 7 Eastern. Yeah, I'll see you guys then. Check us out, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube. Yeah, thank you, David, as always. Thank you for all of our followers, and I'll see you guys at the premiere.
Thank you.
One last thing. One last thing. Dude, I'm pumped. I don't do draft day or the mock fantasy bullshit like the fags do, but I am pumped for football, bro. I watch interviews, Von Miller, Brandon Bean, McDermott, Allen. Go Bills, bro.
I'm ready.
I'm so pumped. Are you doing fantasy this year?
Yeah, I would do.
Have fun with D&D, bro. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks.